magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's gonna be you. The snow brown chick, the one with the weird haircut. She's got nothing on you. First of them all. Yep, right there. What a time to have eyes that work, Toller Team. It's here. It's officially upon us. The culmination of what seems like half a decade of reshoots, rewrites, and regurgitation of an already established property. Of course, I'm talking about Snow Amber. Now, I know I'm probably one of a million reviews right now, so if you've trusted me enough to click on this video, let me say this. Let me get it out of the way. Yes, I'm going to make jokes. Yes, I'm going to keep calling this film every shade of brown I can think of, but yes, I'm going to try and be as unbiased and fair as I can be, despite my unbridled hatred for pretty much all things Disney at this point. See, I know this film wasn't made for me, alright? Hell, I'm not even sure who exactly it was made for, but just because I'm not a kid doesn't mean a film can't entertain me. I've got a young daughter, after all. I've lived through fucking Luau's and Moana. I've lived through getting frozen in place around the house because of Frozen, and I can pretty much recite the entire Remember Me song nearly word for word because of Coco. I can, and have been, entertained by children's movies, so before anyone starts in on that, just shut the hell up.
Alright. You're gonna learn today.
Now, Snow Burnt Sienna, critically and from an entertainment perspective. Let's talk about it. Spoilers ahead.
Whoa. Here I come. Here I come.
This is typically where I do the plot portion of the review, but unless you've been living under a rock or somehow succumbed to alcohol poisoning and lost your memory, you ought to know the plot to Snow White. Actual Snow White, not Snow Khaki. So instead of going through that whole spiel, let's answer the questions most people are going to ask. How much different is the film from the original? Well, quite a bit actually, but not as much as I was anticipating. See, the totally not aggravating and narcissistic Rachel Zegler made it known early on that her version of the character wasn't going to fall in line with the older, more classical version. What was once vulnerability, growing, and leaning on the prince to make up for her weaknesses just like she did his, all of that was going to be traded in for the stereotypical girl boss that's been crammed down our throats for the last decade. And, that there wouldn't be much focus on the stalker, rapey prince. Yes, that is a real thing that she said. Don't get me wrong, Snow Mahogany still has moments of girl bossery, something I'll get into a little bit later, but things like the true love's kiss and the prince actually having a purpose is still very much in this. So either Zegler was lying about the original cut of this film, or Disney went into full-on damage control, tried to shut her up, and rewrote a bunch of shit.
Weird.
Before we get too deep into this, I want to talk about something that caught me a bit off guard, and that's how they approach the whole fairest of them all argument. See, the internet has gone back and forth here lately over the fairest definition, either being about beauty or about being just, fair. Neither one makes sense here, because if the queen is jealous of Snow Brunette's beauty, well, somebody needs to get their damn eyes checked, but the same goes for the other side of the argument, being just and fair. The queen clearly says the fairest of them all, but before Snow White, she actually carried that label. Do you mean to tell me that out of every woman out there in this realm, they're all somehow less just and fair than one of the most evil characters in all of Disney? Yeah, look, Disney, it's cool. It's cool. We all know you'll never admit when you're wrong, but don't try to haphazardly redefine words in an attempt to justify your obviously miscasted characters.
Boom. Roasted.
See, that's the thing. They redefine a few elements, but for the most part, they're kind of telling the same story, and they didn't add too much in the way of developing other characters or side stories, but somehow this bastardized version somehow clocks in nearly a half hour longer than the original 1930s film. And believe me, you start to feel it. It's about an hour in. But with that being said, let's get the lone sole positive out of the way here. Yes, I actually have a positive about this film.
What did he say?
Gal Gadot. I know that might make some of the blue-haired people a bit pissy, but fuck them. They shouldn't be watching my videos anyway. As hard as Disney's army of media headlines tried to vilify Godot prior to the release of Snow Bronze, almost like they were preemptively trying to place the inevitable failure of the film at her feet, she was actually one of the best things about it. Now, you're going to lean in two different directions on this one, alright? You're either going to think Godot did a shitty job, she can't act her way out of a paper bag, and her musical number was as cringe as Brie Larson's in The Marvels, or you're going to be able to get behind her campy, over-the-top, like 1950s, 1960s comic book villain approach to the evil queen. Think Dr. Evil. It's just, it gets really absurd at times.
That was just footage from the movie Independence Day, but the real laser would be a lot like that. Yeah, scary.
But hey, look, I enjoyed it. It seemed like she was the only one out there having fun, so for that, I'll give her props. You know, that, and even though she's dressed up in costumes crazy enough that even a drag queen would be jealous, she's still something nice to look at, especially by comparison.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Well, that's the one lone positive, so let's start off the negatives by talking about Godot's counterpart, Rachel Zegler. All comments aside, you know, all the inflammatory and unlikable shit she's been saying for months, Zegler is just absolutely awful here. You know, she can sing, I'll give her that, but her screen presence and charisma are non-existent, which just doesn't bode well since, you know, she's the main character.
Weird.
Everything she does seems forced, like she's trying to reach the same campiness of Godot's evil queen, but it comes off, well, for lack of better words, stupid. She's clunky, seemingly running from scene to scene like she has no idea what she's doing, and constantly has this retarded look on her face like she's trying to sneak out a fart. Except wait, it's not a fart, it's a shit. All kidding aside, I can't for the life of me justify her casting. There's next to no redeemable qualities, she isn't likable, and for a Disney princess, who are known for their beauty and elegance, Zegler's not. She just comes off abrasive, hard to look at, and she sucks all the energy out of every scene she's in. Oh boy, if you think that's bad, wait until the prince shows up. Then they gotta be on screen together. They have to act like they have interest in one another. Holy hell, God, Lord. They have about as much chemistry as me and my ex-wife. Not to mention, instead of love at first sight and building on the concept of finding your special someone by mere chance, their first musical number together is nothing but a pissing contest of who's better than who. Seriously, guys, he goes at her about being a privileged princess, but on the nose, don't you think? And she goes right back at him over being a criminal who steals potatoes, even though he fights in the name of her father. I will say though, the prince does have quite a bit to do with the film, and he's not portrayed as your typical Disney white dude ding-dong, but instead he's someone Snow Hazel looks down on for half the film. You know, speaking of, that's kind of odd for someone who's supposed to be kind, tolerant, fair, and open to what others are going through, right?
He's out of line, but he's right.
I think the worst sin for me, though, is the effects in this film. You know, almost everything is fucking CGI. Every animal is CGI. The trees are CGI. The damn lake is CGI. The queen's face, you know, when she turns into the old lady thingy, that's also CGI. The apples look CGI. It's just CGI everywhere, and I just don't understand it. Sure, you can't get a bunch of trained blue jays to fly around and act like they're dancing and shit, but do you mean to tell me that Disney couldn't be bothered to shoot most of the film in an actual forest? Half of Northern Europe could have been used for this film, but why do that when you can just have a toddler grab the editing pen and go to town with one of two color palettes, either pale, dull, and uninviting, or bright enough to make your eyes bleed you can spot the green screen work from the next state over. Don't even get me started on the nightmare-inducing midget monsters. As much as I wanted to like them, because for what it's worth, they can be a bit charming, the hyper-realistic, comical, hybrid look Disney went with was never visually appealing on screen. Funnily enough, just to add a little salt to the wound, there's an actual real-life dwarf in this film, and he shares scenes with the midget monsters. Why couldn't Disney get actual little people to play these roles? That's 7 actual jobs for actual little people that got robbed because, oh wait, that's right, Peter Dinklage. Way to gatekeep, you dick.
Fuck you, asshole.
To top it all off, the very thing we feared going into this actually came to fruition. Snowcopper being a girl boss, and girl boss it up she did. Everything from trying to fight side by side with the prince despite not having any combat training, to saving him when he's trapped, because of course she does, to the finale, when she leads this sort of stupid pseudo-rebellion thing against the queen, and it just all comes off abrasive, out of character, and misplaced, because it is. This is not the Snow White that we all know and love. I'm just tired of talking about this film. I saw it. It's gone. That's it. I want to move on. Let's cut right to it. We happy?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker.
All in all, in my honest opinion, young kids aren't going to know either way, so they're probably going to enjoy Snow Walnut. But if you're a parent that's accompanying them, you're going to have a tough time. It's bleak, it's uninspiring, most of the performances are ham-fisted and lack the charisma to keep you engaged. All the while, you're staring at a CGI-riddled, lifeless wasteland inhabited by terrifying midget monsters. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for checking out my review. I'll talk to y'all later.
Say what again?